slides visible on the screen?
Yes, sir, very clear.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for inviting me for this talk. Uh, I've heard three eminent speakers, so I'm a little nervous now after having listened to such good talks. I hope I will come up well. Now, see, but the good thing is that I don't have to talk about COVID itself. I have to talk about what's happening in the shadow of COVID and what we expect will happen and how we have to live. And the new term which has been coined, a new normal. First of all, let me just say what is normal? Normal is something usual, something typical, something expected that we expect every day. That is normal. But does that mean that the term new normal, this kind of sanitizes the idea that the present is absolutely okay? That what we call normal is actually okay? That is the question. The fact of the matter is that this COVID has very, very badly exposed our healthcare system. We may be patting our back, we may be thumping our chests, saying that our mortality is low, our cases are not so bad. But the fact of the matter is that this has been so throughout Asia. It's something to do with genes, something to do with vaccination before. We don't know. But the fact is that there have been so many lacunae which we have seen. And I think we should learn from that so that this doesn't happen in future. Are we seeing what the state of our economy? Do we say it is normal? Our social fabric, do we say it is normal? So there are problems. So when we say normal to new normal, we don't know whether this new normal is really a very great term. So having said that, we come to the fact is that still in the country, there are a huge number of cases which are happening, although it's declining in some parts. And as I said earlier, and as everybody has said, fortunately, the fatality rate is low. As I said, the system, our system, healthcare system, if you see it under microscope, has not come out very nicely. If you see the number of doctors, number of hospitals, number of beds per person, and the doctors had to go on strike during this time. So that is the state of our health. People are having IV sitting on the veranda, on the roadside. So we need to look into ourselves. We do need to do some introspection. This corona has given us a jolt. So the future, the new normal should not be this. And we should not be caught on the wrong foot. The fact of the matter is that because of corona, many businesses have shut. People have been confined to their homes. 96% of air travel has gone. It's plummeted by 96%. Millions of migrants, they had an exodus. The epidemiologists had warned us that this is happening, and we did not prepare. Fortunately, lockdown gave us some time to prepare, and fortunately, the mortality, the virulence of the virus in our part of the country, our part of the world was not too bad, and we seem to be getting away with it. But let's not be too complacent about it. Now, the fact of the matter is that if you see reports after reports after report that this corona is not going anywhere, it's here to stay. Even now, we do get some cases of H1N1. So this also will stay, maybe not to that extent. So we have to prepare ourselves thinking that this is here to stay. Now, if it is here to stay, things have changed. Some things will change, whether the vaccination comes or not. So as I said, the new rhetoric of new normal. What is new normal? Are we going to be more unsafe because a lot of people are unemployed? As an individual, am I going to be very unsafe? Am I going to see my children sitting at home all the time, having to study on the screen, not going to college or going less? So many things have happened. And am I going to work from home? So is it going to be the new normal? And we are talking about staying home. What about the daily wages? Is there going to be a fight between a coronavirus and a hunger virus? So we need to think of all these things and then make a strategy on top of that. In the post-COVID or ensuing COVID that is going on, things are going to change. The global order is going to change. People are probably not going to rely on a unipolar world. People are not going to rely that everything is being manufactured in China and everything is going to be supplied from there. Even the disease which came from China, the PPE, people had to import from there. Instrument they had to import from there. So people are going to have less faith in unipolar world. They probably will go for multipolar world. Hopefully that will be the right thing to do. And similarly, things will change in society level, economy level. The companies will not run the way they are being run, not with this kind of technique that is being done. Artificial intelligence will take more role, and people will have different, even in household, individual things are going to change. This is what, and coming, because I'm a doctor, I obviously, although my topic is a little broad, I need to speak more about the medical aspect of it. And did COVID hurt the non-COVID issues, non-COVID patients? The answer is very, very emphatic yes. There have been many patients who have been non-COVID problem which have been brushed on the carpet. They were not admitted in the hospitals. You do this test, you do that test, it will take 5 days, 4 days earlier. And many people suffered. There are reports after reports after report that non-COVID people suffered either because of the system or they were afraid themselves. They were afraid of catching corona. Their treatment has been delayed. Some routines have been turned into emergency. And because they have been delayed, some of them will probably have poor results. I talk of my own field in orthopedics. Fractures which were crying out to be fixed, patients did not go to hospitals. Some doctors were initially told, don't fix them. It's okay to leave them alone. And some doctors also left them alone. Elderly people, they had fractures around the hip. They did not go to the hospital. Bed sores, pneumonias, thrombosis, all these things did happen. So that's not the way things to go. That's not the way to go, because we know life is motion, motion is life. So we have to find a way. Now that this corona is going to stay, we need to find a safe way for people to get the treatment what they deserve. And fortunately, systems are getting into place and we should be able to do it. Similarly, for cancer, there was a very difficult choice between rock and a hard place. Do I risk getting corona or do I risk getting my cancer worsened with time? Do I get my cancer detected early? Do I get my biopsies done? So there's been so much of confusion. Even a cancer patient for chemotherapy, each time he came to the hospital, he had to do a COVID test. So all these things have happened. We cannot have a repeat of this. So we need to have systems set right so that such things do not happen. Similarly for cardiac, renal things, renal transplant, liver transplant, so many things. So let non-COVID issues not be ignored. All these diseases have not disappeared. They are here. They are only they are probably going to turn into another endemic or a pandemic, because these things will not go away. So we need to think about it in the so-called new normal. The corona should not scare us, and the patient should not be scared of getting treated because of corona, because we have to have systems in place. So what is the way forward? We need to have changing norms. Yes, we will have changing norms. We will not have these kind of get-togethers. We will not have these kind of crowds for traveling. Yes, probably we'll spend more time at home, as much work from home as possible. Education system will probably change. Way of doing businesses will probably change. Yes, but we will not be scared. This thing, probably handshakes and kissing and all these things and hugging probably will go, and namaste will do. These norms, distancing will probably stay for foreseeable future. So be it. That's fine. Then, of course, we'll use masks because we know they're going to be effective. So we need to extrapolate what is going to happen in the next 3 months, what is going to happen in the next 6 months, what is going to happen in the next 2 years. So we need to make a strategy. For example, in next 3 to 6 months, the situation is dynamic. In some part of the country, it is already plateauing. In some part of the country, it is peaking. Like in Delhi, it's probably getting controlled. In Bihar, it is peaking. So we need to have a strategy depending on what is going on in that part. So it's a dynamic situation. And where it is plateauing, we probably need to relieve the tertiary hospital from the burden of admitting corona patients. We need to relieve those beds so that other treatment can carry on. If there is a problem, then ICUs, etc., can be reserved from them. So we need to think about it. We can't just make one full hospital a corona hospital and not do other treatments. So similarly, we need to strategize at the government level, at a society level, the role of Mohalla clinics, the role of primary centers, the role of district and super specialty hospitals. And many a time, private medicine has been labeled as profiteers. There have been so many newspapers, so many this, that look, this is what is happening. But we have to accept, in a country like ours, private medicine is going to play as much, if not more, role than the government setup. So we need to define what the clinics can do, what nursing home will do, what small hospital and tertiary centers. So let's not burden tertiary centers for just admitting plain corona patients. Probably the ones which need ICU is fine. Others should be admitted somewhere else in the time to come. And the hospitals themselves need to organize themselves. We have learned from H1N1 experience. We have learned how to deal with that. So the first principle is primum non nocere. That is, Hippocrates said that anybody who comes to the hospital, let there be no more harm that there is already. So we need to isolate. We need to have everything kind of a vertical division. One corona, H1N1, etc., and others in the other wing, or protocol set in a way that they don't come in contact. Even for doing CT, MRI, we need to have protocols so that nobody catches infection from them. And we have to isolate the ward, we'll have to isolation beds, and all these things are, of course, protocols are being followed, and this will have to be done. And as I said, private healthcare is going to play a very important part in the time to come. But the thing is, there are job losses, there is less affordability, not many people have insurance. So we need to also make private healthcare as affordable to people as possible, in that we need to indigenize. We should not be using very expensive imported items which we need to use. We take the example of PPE. In the beginning of this endemic or pandemic, we had to import PPE, but the country is now exporting. There are many hip and knee implants we used to import. They are now being made in India. Many fracture implants are made in India. So the government has to take a step. We should not be in a stage when on Diwali I have to use the Ganesh made in China. There's no need. So we have to change our mentality. We have to promote make in India, actually do it in real life. And then only we can make the private medicine cheaper. We have to encourage medical tourism. That will not only increase our expertise, but also will bring dollars to our country. So all these things will make private medicine thrive and make it cheaper, because at the end of the day, we cannot compromise with quality. That is one thing we can't do. So we have to do other things. So we need to build health infrastructure. As I said in the beginning, we have been caught on the wrong foot. Our investment in health infrastructure is less than 3% of GDP. It's 21% in Canada. So we need to at least increase to 8 to 10% in the short term, and then increase it further. So, and as I said, use products made in India. We need to change our administrative structure. In this pandemic, you've seen how bureaucrats and politicians have been running the whole show, and they messed up at many places. There have been some stupid orders like, if a doctor has caught corona, explain why he got it. Even today's newspaper, there was an item that if a doctor has worked in a corona thing and he got infection and he took quarantine, that leave cannot be adjusted. For a daily kind of casual doctor, he has to pay for that. I mean, these are kind of things which we don't want, this kind of bureaucracy. It's a professional problem. Let the professionals take the lead in this. This is what I strongly feel, because other people don't understand what's going on. So what is new normal? It should not be elitist. What we have seen in Chicago, 30% of population is Afro-American, but 70% of the deaths were in Afro-American. So this kind of dichotomy should not happen. So we need to balance these things in future that is to come. And we need to reassure at our level, public level, doctors, government has to reassure people that things are getting controlled. Media also has to be checked in, not give sensational reports like one report from LNJP hospital and, show it like this is a normal. I mean, you catch somebody on the wrong foot for whatever reason, and then I think we should stop sensationalizing these things. And also, at the end of the day, a lot of people are going to lose jobs. A lot of people have been indoors. A lot of people have, not interacted socially. There's going to be a social issue. There's going to be a psychological issue. There are going to be increased suicides because of job losses, financial constraint, indoor confinement. So we need to have a strong psychological and psychiatric help available. We need to prepare for that. I mean, otherwise at 6 months, we will see that we will have many of these problems happening. So this is what the roadmap we need to do. And at the present moment, we should not try to see everything through the prism of new normal. Let's deal with the things on merit today, because things, as I said, are dynamic, and we should start preparing as things happen. But this normal and new normal, these terminologies, to me, they don't make sense. I think we have to deal with the situation and prepare for the situation that is to come. And I think that's my way of thinking, is that always think positive, क्योंकि शम्मा बुझ जाए तो फिर से जल सकती है, कश्ती दरे तूफान से निकल सकती है, गम न कर अपना इरादा न बदल, किस्मत किसी वक्त बदल सकती है. So we can turn adversity into opportunity, and that's the way we should do it. Thank you for your attention.
Well done, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Gulati. In fact, I was thinking, in fact, I spoke to him that he should speak on how do we reduce the fatalities. That is what the topic I wanted to give him. But, I am seeing the hidden, side of Dr. Gulati. He has come out of his comfort zone of an excellent clinician and he spoke on a very social issue.